Welcome to the Toddcast, your weekly leadership nudge. My name is Todd Long. I discovered a new product this week called Buff Out Callous Eraser. It's a product used to remove that hard skin on the bottom of feet or possibly on your hands that starts to form. And that product inspired the topic this week. I've been focused on emotions of leading people, so I thought about this term callous or callousness as an emotion that sometimes shows up in people that we work with. The root for callous comes from the Latin word callum, which means hard skin. We get this over time because of friction on that skin that forms that toughness. If you play a stringed instrument, like I play the ukulele, you start to form calluses on your fingers if you play long enough. This word callous also describes a person's emotional state or condition. It's the idea of being hardened or insensitive, possibly even cruel or lack of emotional sensitivity to others. People who are callous come across as cold or heartless or indifferent, and this can show up in the people that we work with. And I want to focus this episode on you as a leader who has direct reports that may come across or show up as callous, and help you understand a little bit more about where that might be coming from, the impact that might have on the team and the organization, and then what do you do? How do you navigate or lead a person who shows up with this hardness or insensitivity or this demeanor that says, I don't want to be around you and I don't want to be engaged in this? So we're going to look at some tools, some ways to navigate that. Let's make this happen. Welcome to the Toddcast, your weekly leadership nudge. Welcome to the Toddcast. Great ideas you'll love. The people who I've worked with that come across as callous have mostly been either coworkers or people who have been in my workshops. I have been fortunate enough not to have too many callous employees who have worked for me over the years, but I do know what this person's demeanor is like. Here's the prototype of a callous person. I'm going to call this person Stu. Generally, this person's a male. There are some females that come across as callous also. They're in their mid-40s to mid-60s. They've worked many years. They're generally really hard workers. They're generally people who have a high ability. They're really competent in a particular skill. They keep to themselves. They'll show up on time, but they'll also leave on time. They're willing to work overtime, but they'll grumble about it. But they do appreciate the overtime pay. They don't want to be shown what to do or how to do things. And if change is implemented or brought about, they'll resist it and possibly even derail change. So that's Stu. That's the prototypical person that I would say is a callous person. The narratives that come from this person that are spoken are these types of words. These young people today, they don't know anything. They don't know what the real life is like. Or just show up, do your job, get out of my way. Or leadership, management, they're clueless. They don't know anything. We've tried that many years ago. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. Those are the narratives that are coming from a callous person. It's interesting, a callous person has some power in the organization, though. A power that allows them to stay and continue to work. And what is that power? That power generally is that they're hard workers. Again, they show up and they do their job. They're generally highly competent as well. They understand their area of work. So the power is they are hard workers and they show up. And losing them could be a problem to your team and possibly to the organization. Now, here's a side note to you as a leader. If you have one person that has that much power or control because of the knowledge that they have, then that's problematic. That's a whole different episode we can explore later. So the power of this callous person is the feeling of, I don't want to lose them because I'm going to lose a worker and it's going to be really hard to replace them. So you continue to allow them to work in the organization. Now, what's causing a person to be callous? What's the root? There are multiple reasons that a person can become callous. See, the callous person has been rubbed the wrong way over a long period of time. They've been disregarded, ignored, possibly put down, and deeply hurt. And there's possibly a narrative in their mind that continually perpetuates these thoughts and feelings about being disregarded or ignored, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy, which then causes them to be more and more callous. I share this not for us to find the root cause. I share this as a way to maybe empathize a little bit more. Because if somebody has been rubbed the wrong way for years and years and years and years, something's built up with them that's caused them to be hardened. I hope this helps you to empathize with this person a little bit more, particularly when we start to think about some ways to lead this person well. Now, this callous person, when they show up into the workforce, into your team, this is a problem. This callous behavior that shows up is a toxic overflow into the team and to the organization. It negatively impacts morale, problem solving, and productivity. People are constantly on their guard about how Stu, the callous person, is going to respond in any given situation. It takes emotional and mental energy that could be used for something else. So then people tend to just leave Stu alone, stay away from him. But that's not the answer. Just to stay away from Stu, the callous person, leave him alone, that's really not the answer. Then what do you do? First of all, this is a complex topic. There's not an easy answer to this. Second of all, you cannot change a callous person. They have to change themselves. There's no magic eraser that will automatically change this, and you cannot do that. They have to make that choice for themselves. Also, if they choose to make a choice to become less callous, it will take time and energy to be able to do that. Here's 3 things that you can do as a leader to engage and help lead a person who shows up with this callousness. Number 1, you have to earn their respect. It's been my experience when working with people who are come across as callous is I have to listen really well and truly understand their perspectives. I have to ask great questions. I have to reflect back what they're saying, and I have to have a posture of truly wanting to know what their perspective is and what their thoughts are. That's the first step to gaining respect of a person who comes across as callous. Next, I have to give them as much autonomy and ownership as possible. They have to have the sense of control of the outcome that they want. So as much autonomy and control you can give to that person, you give it to them. And then finally, they have to have the autonomy and the opportunity to execute on whatever they decide to do. I would also say in terms of execution, if you make a promise or a commitment to a person who comes across as callous to support them in some particular way, you better do it. Because if you don't do it, they will hold that against you and you will lose their respect. You have to follow through with commitments and promises. That's the first step in working with someone who comes across as callous. Number 2, clearly define the cultural behaviors you desire for your team and articulate those. Again, I'm going to say it again. Clearly define the cultural behaviors you want for your team and articulate those. And once you've defined them and articulated those, you have to call those behaviors out when they do not align to the expectations. So if this callous person shows up with a behavior that does not align to your expectations and the team's expectations, you have to call it out in a very direct and kind manner. Generally what I've found is people who have come across as hardened or kind of tough is they respect directness and a firmness in your voice. For example, if you need this person to show up daily to a team huddle meeting, you might address them in this way. Hey, Stu, I need to chat with you for a minute. I need to talk to you about the huddle meetings. When would be a good time to have that conversation? Stu shows up. Hey, I need you to show up on time and actively participate in the morning huddle meetings. Your experience and knowledge is critical to the success of the team, and I need you to be there as an example and as a person that can help support our team. There's one example. Here's another example. This is about Stu cussing at his coworkers. Yeah, this happens. Hey, Stu, I need to talk to you about cussing at your coworkers when you have time. Stu comes to you. Stu, I heard you were cussing at a coworker. You can't cuss at your coworkers. I need you to find a better way to navigate and handle your frustrations. I can help you with that if you'd like and help you think through that. And I need you to find better ways to communicate with your coworkers. There's a couple examples. Number 3, if the person's not willing to change their behaviors and it's causing too much disruption in your team and the organization, you will have to help this person find a new opportunity. This might mean finding a new place in the business, one that they may not be as callous towards or as disruptive, or it may be helping them find a new opportunity outside the business. I would say that's your last resort, and it may be the resort that you need to take as a leader. I've heard numerous stories over the years of managers who have let employees go who continually show up with this callous behavior. And once that person is gone from the team, there seems to be a breath of fresh air. And the people appreciate it. Morale improves. Actually, productivity improves. And there's a sense of, okay, now we can move on. So you may have to help that person find a new opportunity. Here's the try it out section. I'm going to give you 2 exercises that work together. First is an observation exercise. Identify a person that you consider to be callous. That's one of your direct reports, if you so happen to have that person. And then just observe the behaviors. Take mental notes. If you want to write a couple notes down, do that. Just observe the behaviors. Next, go build respect with that person. So pick one of those behaviors and then ask the person to have a conversation about it. Just simply say, hey, I've noticed this show up in you. I'd like to understand that a little bit better. Would you be willing to share that with me? And then listen really well so you truly understand where that person's coming from. There's the try it out section. Observe the behaviors, but then go build that respect with the person and see what happens. Here's your quote of the week. This is from Liz Newman. She's a blogger and a poet. I've found that happiness is a deviant act of bravery in spite of a callous world. Hey, thank you so much for listening to the Toddcast, your weekly leadership nudge. I pray that we do not become callous to the people who are callous towards us, but that we can show respect and kindness even when we don't get that in return. Have a great week. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye. I have some bonus material for you if you stuck around. Thought I'd have a little bit of fun with the product Buff Out. I thought of different products that Buff Out could be. Here's the products that I came up with. Is your vehicle looking a little dull? You need Buff Out. Are you looking a little scrawny these days? You need a Buff Out t-shirt. It makes you look 4 times as muscular. Do you have a stain on that new white shirt? You need Buff Out. Do you have a raging buffalo chasing you through your campsite? You need Buff Out. It's a little too early for that one. Have a great day.